They've already been developed, they're already flying, many of them are already flying in military combat operations, and now the big challenge is to get them to work together in cooperative groups for devastating effect. Welcome to the world of swarm drones.
Battle Cry has told you all about drone warfare. But there's one we've left untouched. The amazing aspect of swarm drones. Drones in swarms for cooperative combat. Intelligent, autonomous, and deadly. The good news? Swarm drones aren't in some distant future. Swarm drone warfare is here and now. The bad news? India is late on the swarm drone bus. Join us as we fly with India's swarm drones.
In the military, they always say, give us the bad news first. And the bad news as far as India and swarm drone warfare is, we've been very late on the bus and there's a lot of catching up to do. The good news, however, is with India's adversaries in the neighborhood developing swarm drone warfare at a very rapid pace, we simply don't have a choice but to put muscle into developing swarm drone warfare as quickly as possible. Here's where we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, the drones have started their descent.
Labelled a disruption in warfare milestone, this was the scene over Delhi's Army Parade ground in January this year. A demo of a 75-strong autonomous drone swarm performing offensive and close support operations. The government declared that these swarms can enter 50 kilometers inside enemy territory and carry out independent military tasks and destroy targets. Like a swarm of bees, each acting independently and in coordination. But these are at the lower end of swarm drone warfare. Already behind the curve on weaponized and swarm drones, the armed forces of India are pushing to fill the gaps through imports. The tougher task, though, is to develop an indigenous ecosystem for these must-have platforms. Apart from the Indian Army, the Indian Air Force holds hope for futuristic military projects in the form of the Meher Baba Swarm Drone Competition, an Air Force-funded project for creating swarm drones. The winner of the contest is to build a fleet of 50 drones to deliver humanitarian assistance and disaster relief and will bag a 100 crore rupee Indian Air Force contract. It's important to note that the competition comes after China flaunted similar drone technology during the ongoing Ladakh standoff. But these drones are still at the lower end of technology. But what about high-performance drone systems that employ AI and big data for coordinated or swarm attacks? You'll be happy to know that Indian scientists and aerospace engineers are working on swarm drone warfare at higher performance levels as well. Modeled on the US project Skyborg, HAL's ongoing CATS Warrior project envisions a scenario where unmanned aircraft and vehicles will coordinate with manned fighter jets to carry out aerial strikes. The Combined Air Teaming System, or CATS, will have a mother vehicle, a fighter jet operating 700 kilometers away, that will be able to strike enemy targets through unmanned drones. The fighter jets guiding the unmanned drones can remain 150 kilometers behind and control and give directions to 4 unmanned vehicles called the CATS Warriors. The drones are expected to be integrated onto the Tejas and Jaguar fighter jets for now, and many more in the future.
You have the LCA Tejas new variant right on top. It has a lot of payload on the wings, and at the bottom you have a big bird. This is called CATS Warrior. This is one of the biggest assets that the CATS project has. By asset I mean a machine on an aircraft. Okay, so the machine and man will team together, and that will be called manned-unmanned teaming. Okay, so there will be one Tejas and either 2 or 4 warriors in a team. They will execute an attack, or they will fight against a aircraft which is intruding into the Indian airspace.
One of the first prototypes is expected to fly in the next 3 to 4 years. Capable of evading radar detection, its stealth capability will make the attack even more potent. The CATS Alpha is a glider that will be able to carry 4, 8, 16 or 24 mini swarm drones. The Alpha can glide 50 to 100 kilometers into enemy territory and carry out swarm drone attacks with multiple armed UAVs. The flight path ahead is a long and difficult one. Compared to other countries, India's R&D spending on drone tech is not even equal to the annual maintenance costs of the fleet of imported systems. For the armed forces, indigenous drones hold out not only the potential of becoming force multipliers, but with budgetary cuts as a low-cost solution to meet the huge operational requirements. The good news is, India has no choice but to take steps forward into drone territory. They are, without any question, the future of warfare.
One of the most hallowed grounds for aerospace research, specifically drone research in India, is the campus of the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, IIT Delhi. India Today's Sandeep Punithan visited to see how students are sitting on the very cutting edge of swarm drone technology.
They are the future of warfare. Drone swarms turned the tide in the Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict last year. They were used by Israeli Defense Forces in their operations against Hamas in Gaza this year. And just last month, on June the 27th, suspected terrorists used 2 mini drones to attack the Indian Air Force station in Jammu.
You've all seen drones, but the drones that you've seen are the ones that operate alone. What if you could get multiple drones to fly together and operate like one single machine? Possible? What you're about to see will take your breath away, because you're going to see India's first Desi drone swarm.
What you're looking at here, in the heart of the national capital, is a set of 66 nano drones operating in perfect symmetry. They're the work of a startup inside IIT Delhi. They've been designed and developed indigenously and programmed to fly just 3 meters apart to form these shapes in the sky.
What you're seeing behind me is a drone swarm working in perfect synergy with each other. 66 drones working to form different patterns in the sky that you can see. And this is what a drone swarm essentially is. Multiple UAVs, multiple drones working together to form patterns, to operate together. This is the essence of a drone swarm.
Drones can be bought off the shelf, but creating a drone swarm like this light show is a programming problem. The challenge is getting individual units to work together, and that's what this drone startup at the Indian Institute of Technology in Delhi did with a 50 lakh grant from the Department of Science and Tech. developed the communication protocols, the motor controllers and flight controllers to share information and manage flight paths to get their drones to fly in a coordinated path or form a shape in the sky. Make no mistake, this is only the beginning. A drone swarm like this can be stepped up to the next level. They can be used to saturate enemy air defenses, attack soft-skinned vehicles, aircraft and troops in the open. They can even be used as anti-drones to crash into enemy rogue drones. This is the reason that every military now wants a drone swarm. And this is the capability drone developers like this one are working on across the country. Drone swarms can be broadly classified into 3 levels of increasing complexity. Level 1, where the drones fly in a pre-programmed flight path. They are unaware of their surroundings. The drones have several pre-programmed flight paths, out of which the operator can select any one. Flight path coordinates can be updated on the fly. Then there's level 2, where the drone swarm is aware of their surroundings and terrain with pre-fed coordinates which they follow to execute a particular mission. And then there's level 3. These involve fully autonomous and self-aware drones that operate as a pack to execute a single mission. They take decisions based on the changing environment dynamically.
So what you can do is multiple things. Let's say if you have a radar installation, it can just hover above it and just clutter their feet. It can saturate their defenses to the extent where conventional forces become much more potent against them. Apart from that, they can carry payloads and they can actually lay a minefield in real time. So there are numerous applications. We still are just at the surface of the applications of these things.
Is India ready to meet the challenge posed by this new era of drone warfare? Yes, it is. But for that, our drone entrepreneurs and developers need all the help that they can get. For India Today, this is Sandeep Unitan in New Delhi.
We've told you where India is as far as swarm drone warfare is concerned, and we've already told you that India has been late on the bus. But how do we match up against some of the more cutting-edge projects out there? There's only one way to learn: to actually put them together. In this report, you'll see some of the most advanced swarm drone warfare projects in other parts of the world.
We've told you about swarm drones. We've explained how India is working towards strengthening its swarm drone goals. But what about swarm drone tech currently in the works in other countries? We've seen the potential of drone warfare in US strikes against terrorist groups like the Taliban in Afghanistan, in Iraq, and recently in the major flare-ups between Armenia and Azerbaijan and the Israel-Palestine conflict. If a single drone can inflict such damage on enemy forces, it's a matter of imagination how much damage a swarm of drones can cause. From the US to China, many countries are developing swarm drone tech for future warfare. Let's tell you a little bit about them. As part of its roadmap for the future use of unmanned systems, the US Navy and Marine Corps is looking at deploying swarms of low-cost unmanned aerial vehicles. The Office of Naval Research has developed the low-cost UAV swarming technology, or LOCUST program, which fires small drones from a tube-based launcher. The new model builds on current approaches where a relatively small number of larger drones are being used remotely for effects such as reconnaissance and attack. However, research is being conducted into how these swarms can be utilized more broadly in offensive operations. In 2020, China released a video claiming to showcase a successful test of a barrage swarm that launches 48 attack drones to saturate a target. It is described as the first practical Chinese swarming drone system. These kamikaze or suicide drones are powered by electric-powered propellers and carry explosive warheads powerful enough to take out armored vehicles and tanks. Perdix are micro drones that can be deployed from a variety of military aircraft and fly ahead of larger, more expensive remotely piloted aircraft or manned aircraft to conduct intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance missions. In 2016, the US tested the system by launching 100 micro drones from an F-18 Super Hornet fighter. To send a piloted aircraft into enemy airspace has always been a risky affair because of the presence of long-range air defense systems. The ability to send a large number of small drones could provide forces with improved operational flexibility at much lower cost. For this, the US DARPA has launched the Gremlins program, a program envisioning the launching of groups of drones from existing large aircraft such as bombers or transport aircraft, as well as from fighters and other small fixed-wing platforms, while those planes are out of range of adversary defenses. When the Gremlins complete their mission, a C-130 transport aircraft would retrieve them in the air and carry them home, where ground crews would prepare them for the next use within 24 hours. Next comes Switchblade 600. Developed by American firm AeroVironment, the Switchblade is a man-portable drone launched from a tube using compressed gas. The munition has a loitering endurance of about 40 minutes. It can carry an anti-armor warhead and be piloted into targets and can destroy stationary or moving lightly armored vehicles. Joseph Stalin once said, "Quantity has a quality of its own." Well, swarm drones certainly support that. They say in a war, destiny supports the side which has big guns, but in the future, destiny could very well support the side which wields swarm drone technology.
We'll keep you posted on all the big developments in India's swarm drone warfare projects. I promise you on Battle Cry, we'll keep you on the cutting edge always. Thanks for watching. See you next week.